Be a chore. Before you jump in, tune in here to About Your House to listen and learn from the most experienced and reputable contractors and service providers in the industry. On today's show, we have Bullet Helms, Business Development Director, and Jared Grise, the owner and CEO of Garage Door Doctor, in the house. About Your House is brought to you in part by PutToolsInSchools.org, connecting students to tools of the trades and raising awareness of the many career pathways. About Your House is also brought to you in part by Queen City Home Store. Queen City Home Store is a family-owned store. They've been serving the Carolinas for over 70 years. They're the largest independent appliance retailer in the Carolinas, constantly growing and taking pride in the experience that they offer customers with a knowledgeable sales staff, product selection, and lowest price guarantee. So sit back, relax, and enjoy some time with us as we spread a little love. And now, here's your host, Ray Terry.
And good morning. Welcome to another week, another About Your House episode. I'd be curious to know how many episodes of About Your House we've actually done since 2007, when we came on WFNZ, which was 6:10 a.m. at that time. But as we all know, radio's taken a different pathway. Now, no more AMs. I think they're all gone. Anyway, welcome to the big city. Welcome to About Your House today. And like Richton just told you, brought to you by Queen City Home Store. Been in Charlotte since 1952. And it's taking on a new look, new direction, new everything. And when I said everything, I mean everything. They've got everything you need in your household. So go online, queencityonline.com. But today's show, we have the Garage Door Doctor. Garage Door Doctor, been in town a long time, but new owner, new story, great stuff. Glad to hear it. You have Garage Door Doctor. Charlotte's turned into a garage door haven. Used to, when I grew up, we didn't have many. I got Jared, the owner, CEO, chief cook, head bottle washer, the main man. And say your last name for me.
It's Grise.
Grise.
Yes.
Grise being French.
It is French.
Hey, I guessed. Wow.
You got it. I'm mostly Irish, but a French guy got in the mix, and here we are today.
Awesome. And one of our old friends, Bullet Helms, in the house. Bullet's been in the industry for a long time. I've known Bullet for a long time. Who knows how long? Probably 30 years or better, wouldn't you say?
Back when we first met, I think I had hair. A little bit anyway.
I had more hair too. I wish I could grow a ponytail, but I can't, so I just cut it off and called it quits. That's all we can do when we get my age. But anyway, it's great to have you guys in the house today talking about something that I've really tried hard to get on the program, but Garage Doors seems to be a pretty popular company in Charlotte. And I want to talk about growth in Charlotte. I've been in Charlotte for 74 years. I'm in my 75th year in this city. And thank God, and been blessed with health and great things in my life, working with my hands and my mind, critical thinking. But something I've noticed here of the past 20 years, Charlotte's taken on a whole different landscape look. And when I say that, it's like we talk a lot about, on this show, we talk a lot about crawl spaces. We talk a lot about just houses in general. Probably not enough about houses because of the technology that's entered the pathway of our lives, with technology being all that it is and how it's changed. Don't you think technology's changed the way we live our lives, guys?
Absolutely.
Very much so, in the fact that a lot of the younger kids grasp it because they're used to it.
Yes.
And guys of our generation, it's more of a challenge. And I think most of it is just frustration that it's, we don't know about it. But you grab a kid off the street and, hey, can you fix this on my phone? Oh, yeah, give it to me. I'll show you how to get all the spam off of it and everything.
Right.
Else. So, yeah.
Sure.
It's definitely changed the atmosphere.
Well, Jared here is a youngster. I'm not here to pick on him, but he is a youngster for me and Bullet both. And I always ask how old you are. That's just something I do, Jared.
I'm 44.
He's 44 years old, but he's a youngster relative to the industry as a whole. And what I mean by that is, as always, we're going to pry into Jared's back life, so to speak, how he got here. He's not from Charlotte. There's always a story, always a journey in everybody's life. But let me go back to what I was talking about Charlotte. Garage doors. When I grew up, garage doors, they were in Charlotte, no doubt about it. More of a commercial door than anything else, because in Charlotte, we didn't grow up with a lot of garage doors.
We didn't grow up with concrete driveways either.
Nope. You're right. You're right.
We had gravel driveways, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Charlotte's come a long way, but, but my point is, there weren't any garage door companies to speak of. I mean, you had 3 or 4, coming up in Charlotte, no question about it. There's always been businesses to supply service to our customers, our living people here in Charlotte, the residents of this here town. But as we grew, more garage doors popped up, and more popped up. And now, I think garages almost have become almost standard on most houses.
Absolutely.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Absolutely.
And these condos, these apartment projects, they all have got a multitude of garage doors, garages.
In many houses, I mean, the garage door is your primary entrance.
I know.
You're going through that rather than the front door or even the side door. It's the garage they're going through more than any door.
But on that, we've got a lot of garage door companies now. Just like we've got a lot of crawl space, foundation companies now, electrical companies. We've got, goodness gracious, how many service trucks do you see going across town these days? HVAC companies. I mean, we have become a metropolis of service companies.
Well, we've had to be, Ray, because the simple fact of the matter is, in my workings with the Chamber of Commerce for the last 30 years, in different venues like Piedmont Natural Gas, we saw this influx of people from the New England area and also the Midwest. And as we continue to grow, the service industry had to grow with it. Not only new construction, renovation, service industry, period. All these things in our homes have to be serviced. I had to call a plumber on the way over here this morning, so, for a leak. So I get it. It's one of those things. And one thing that I didn't realize when I went to work for Jared is the garage door industry. Rode by them, didn't pay no attention to them. And like you said, when I drove up my cul-de-sac, I hit the button and the garage door opened, and that's how I went in the house. But I didn't realize the number of garage doors that are in apartments.
Oh, gosh, it's amazing.
It's just amazing how many garage doors are in apartments now. It's just astounding now that it's, like you said, when we grew up, you had a garage just because somebody had a shop behind their house.
Right, yeah.
That did car work for neighbors. They built their hot rods or whatever.
Sure.
But now it's a standard.
Well, garage doors back, for example, in the 70s were a high-end ticket for a house. I worked out in Raintree back in the early days of Raintree when it was just getting started. And by the way, when Raintree started, there was nothing near Raintree. It was out in the country.
We had Cedarwood, which was a country club right across the street.
Right.
And you're right, 51 was a 2-lane road that just barely could pass 2 cars.
In 1972, between Matthews and Pineville, there was nothing. I mean, nothing. It was a 2-lane road. You had the Pineville Country Dinner Theater and a veterinarian near Pineville. That was the only thing between Pineville and Matthews. Oh, I mean, in 16, the Arboretum.
I was about to say, when did the Arboretum? Was it the late 80s?
Oh, it was mid-late 80s,
Early 90s when it really started.
We used to sit.
Taking over.
We used to sit in the construction office at Raintree and talk about how long it would be before something would be out there. I mean, there was nothing. No gas stations, no general stores, no handy pantries, no 7-Elevens, nothing between Pineville and Matthews. And another thing about Charlotte, as we've noticed, if you're newcomers to Charlotte, notice how it takes them normally three times to get a road right. They'll widen it a little bit and improve it. And then about 10 years later, here they come again, widen it again. Highway 51 is no different. I watched them change that road 2 and 3 times before they finally got it right. They waste more money. And 485, another example. They finish it up. They're going to go in there and put a toll lane, which, gripes me to no end.
Well, going to Lake Norman in the 60s.
Yeah, oh yeah,
And
oh
I'm
my
dating
goodness.
myself, okay? Yeah.
As a matter of fact, Lake Norman was developed and filled up in the 60s, folks.
Now, yeah, well, I caught my first fish there in 62 after it filled up in 60. Well, 115 was a 2-lane country road going up to Lake Norman.
Right.
And you went to exit 30, what's now exit 36, okay? That was a 2-lane road, barely big enough to put a dump truck down. Then they upgraded 115. Then they built 21. And then in the early mid-70s, they said, this ain't working. There's no more room to widen 21, so they started on 77. And we know what a quagmire that is. I mean, I can't imagine living in Cornelius or Mooresville right now.
Oh, my goodness.
Or Davidson, having to take 77 to work and home. Now, there's a lady that I ran into at Lake Norman Home Builders one night, and we were talking about the toll road going from her house up in Cornelius to her work in Fort Mill.
Right.
Hour and 15 minutes on a good day, and that's taking the toll roads. She was spending $500 to $700 a month on tolls.
These tolls are out of sight. They're ridiculous, and there's no reason we should be paying them. We already pay road taxes, but I'm not going to get off on that tangent. Please forgive me. I'll get on a rant. We don't want that. Promise you.
That's for sure.
I came in here this morning. I've already had one rant, and Richton told me to calm down. I was going to blow a vessel. So I said,
you're gonna have to give
okay.
yourself a heart attack. Relax, please.
Okay, but I did check my BP this morning. We're good to go. 123, I think above 76, I believe it was.
Oh, you're good.
Oh, yeah.
A-OK. Yeah, I try to keep it in range, check it at least once a week. But back to the garage door situation. Rain Tree. Rain Tree is where I had my introduction to garage doors because it was high-end at that time. It was a luxury development at that time, high-end. Matter of fact, Rain Tree was one of the areas of one of the first exclusive areas with one golf course and 2 golf courses, and well, the rest is history. But anyway, I got trained on garage doors out there because it was a problem. These houses were brand new homes, but they had issues. So I learned about garage doors in with cold roll steel rods and adjustment to torsion bars, all that spring-loaded stuff.
Big heavy wooden doors too at that time.
Oh goodness,
Absolutely.
heavy wooden doors, heavy.
It's funny you mentioned Rain Tree because I just sold 2 of those 9x7 garage doors.
Right.
And when I walked up, I immediately took pictures of the right-hand corner on the first door and the left hand on the other one, and I'm like, termites that eat a 6-inch hole. And I asked the guy, I said, how long you been here? He said, 47 years. He said, I'm the
What
original.
road was it?
4 Mile Creek.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Anyway, the guy says, well, I've been the original owner for 47 years. And I said, these are the original doors? He said, I hate to say it, but yes.
That's not bad.
No.
No, and they were in rough shape, so we accommodated him and put him some new doors in.
One of the big problems at Rain Tree back in the day was controlling the water going into the garage, under the garage doors, because stupid still existed back then as well, and they did not. The number one problem we have with our homes is what? Water. Water is your number one prime enemy. You know, you don't want it in your house, right? So not only did I learn about garage doors, I learned that you can build a curb at a garage door on top of concrete, and I learned that from my friend Jack Ferris, God bless his soul. He taught me more about bonding concrete than anybody ever did afterwards. But anyway, so I learned to control the water as well as fix garage doors, so I go way back. But the point is, since then, look what's happened. We have exploded. I talked about the many electrical, the many plumbing companies, the many HVAC companies, the many crawl space foundation repair companies. My goodness, we're inundated, and it seems like it never stops. Well, Garage Door Doctor came to town with another owner, and I'm going to go back to history a little bit. And I met this other owner because, like I said, I was anxious to meet new service companies who gave service to this city we live in and the multitude of things that we need owning a home. Garage doors are a big ticket item now. And here we have Jared. Where are you from?
Originally from Connecticut.
Which part?
Hartford.
Hartford, Connecticut.
Hartford, Connecticut.
Born and raised up there?
Born and raised up there. Actually went to Chapel Hill. Came down here. My mom's from outside Greensboro, so I do have a.
So you went to UNC?
I did. I'm not sure. We'll talk about the coach situation later, but.
Well, I'm not into sports. Well, don't get me started on that one either.
Ray, you love Michael Malone, Ray. Just admit it. You love him.
Now, I'm going to say this to you. Now, see, I'm going to tell you how ignorant I am. I have no clue who Michael Malone is.
Well, yeah. I mean, a lot of people don't.
Who is
That's
he?
part of the problem.
He's a former NBA coach that's now making the transition to college as a head coach for the first time. Just got hired by the
Carolina?
Tar Heels yesterday.
So we've got a new coach at Carolina.
Yes, sir.
What's
that's out of the family. You know, Carolina usually keeps it in the family. Somebody that went there.
Right. And who just retired? What's his name?
Well, Roy Williams retired years ago.
Roy Williams.
Yep.
Hubert Davis took over, who was a player there, and he got fired.
He was another.
He's from Winston, but he played at Carolina.
Played Carolina.
Right.
Yep.
Well, I'm not into sports, folks. Pardon me. I've just burnt out. You know, and don't, like I said, that's another topic we don't want to go.
Yeah, we don't need another rant.
Yeah. Well,
Thank you.
All right, real quick interjection here.
Anyway.
You know, I got to hit sports a little bit here. I talk to kids, a lot of kids, every week. You know, I had 7 kids I worked with Saturday morning out here in the toolbox on a work day, just teaching them basic tools, implementing. Well, we worked with electrical devices, but anyway, my point is, you get 20 kids together, and you ask them what they're going to be when they get out of high school. 5 to 7 of them are going to be athletes, and they're not going to be athletes. But I say, well, don't squish their dreams. I'm not squishing their dreams, and I'm not here to criticize your direction. But when sports become such an item that these kids go after, and their Saturday mornings and Saturdays are spent on the soccer field, t-ball, baseball, football, you know, these kids aren't living kids' lives anymore. They're orchestrated around sports. Sports is dominant, and you know why? To keep you entertained, to keep you entertained and not focused on really what's happening. And that in our culture has become an issue. Like it or not, call me crazy, whatever. I have way too much time on my hands to think about this stuff. But it's a fact. And it's not my facts. It's a fact of life. It's been studied, been researched. And sports has become a major entertainment vehicle, just like screens, and it's become detrimental to the outcomes of our kids. Like it or not, that ain't me talking. That's psychologists, doctors, and people who are educated and know about that stuff, and that's a fact. So sports, and especially like men will get together and talk about sports for hours.
It's true.
What does it do for mankind? Anybody want to help me with that one?
Yeah, I'll throw in a little. I umpired over 8,000 ball games.
There you go. I forgot about that,
Yeah,
brother.
my last 7 years I spent with the AAU organization. I was doing college and all the way down.
Right.
And I've done some AA ball games too. But my standard speech to the coaches, I'd call the 4 coaches out, the assistant and the head coach for both teams, come out to home plate before I brought the girls out, the coin toss. And I say, look, we're here for one reason. We're here for the girls. I don't care if they're 10 and under or 16 and under. The girls are here for 2 things. They're learning how to win and lose, and they're learning how to be teammates and friends.
And how to play together.
First and foremost, I said, I got 10,000 girls out here at this field right now on playing on 7 or 8 fields. And I said, reality is that 1 out of those 1,000 girls might get offered a full ride scholarship. Women's sports is women's sports, however you want to label it. The basic deal is that girl that's a superstar on your team might get a 10 or 15% scholarship, but the other 85% is going to come in the form of a academic scholarship. Have them concentrate on their studies because that's where their money's going to be. And I'm talking about maybe 1 or 2 girls on a team. The rest of them, slim and none. And that's just the reality of the fact of what we're dealing with here. You guys take it way too serious. And I tried to get all this said in 30 seconds. You know, I got games to get played. And I said, you guys need to settle down and realize what you're doing here and what you're hoping to accomplish. The main thing is to keep these girls out of the back seat of a car.
And off of these, right?
And get them, you know, straight and narrow.
Right.
You know, because the reality that it's just the scholarship ain't happening. Second thing I want to reiterate to you that God only put one perfect one on this earth, and that's Jesus Christ, and he's not umpiring your ball game. You don't say too much about what I do, and I won't criticize your coaching because I have been doing this longer than both of you are alive.
How long did you
I started umpiring when I was 13 years old, and I retired about 10 years ago when I realized that I had to pull a softball out of my ball patch and give it to the catcher to throw it 40 feet to the pitcher because my arm was done. I mean, 12 years of catching, playing ball, fishing, I couldn't pick up my arm enough to throw a ball back 40 feet. So I said, I'm done.
How long? How many years?
34 years, 8,000 ball games.
34 years, 8,000 ball games.
I was doing 225 to 300 games a year.
Wow.
My last 7
Well, thank you for your service.
No, that you know, I just enjoyed it because I was a catcher and a goalie.
Right.
You know, playing hockey and being a plate umpire, which they wouldn't even put me on the bases because they knew they'd make me unhappy.
Right.
You know, so being behind the plate.
But what's your thoughts on the way we're handling sports now and our kids? You got kids of your own.
It's taken way too seriously, in the fact that every parent's dream is to have their kids play college ball. The reality is it's not going to happen. I mean,
It's more of a parent problem than it is a kid problem.
Parents are the problem. I used to sit down when I was coaching.
And I didn't have to say that. He did.
When I was coaching, I would have a meeting. I'd have my girls out there with my assistant coach, okay?
Yeah.
They'd be out there warming up, whatever, and I'd sit the parents down. I'd say, okay, if I had my druthers, when you drove up, you would drop your girl off at this field and you'd hit the road. I don't need you around. Because, quite frankly, the girls are not the problem. You are.
How was that taken?
They would sit there and you would just. They never had they never had a coach.
Tough love.
With the experience that I had, I was like a Marine sergeant. You know.
Yeah.
Get the hell out of here. I don't need you here.
Right.
You are the problem.
Well, you know what?
And they were like, "Oh, what are you talking about?"
Exactly.
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah.
I mean, it's important. For many kids, I think that's the first time to get really kind of structure. You don't necessarily get it in schools, but if you get a tough love coach to give you kind of drill some stuff in, it develops structure.
And now on the tough love, can I elaborate on that just a minute? I'm working with kids every Saturday now, and I work with kids, and I love kids. But I ain't going to take no crap off of them. I will not do it because we're too soft on kids today. And, you know, and I've been told I'm too harsh, I'm too loud, I'm too in your face. I'm old school, and I certainly don't belong in these soft environments we live in now. You know, and people say, well, you can't, could you say it differently? No, I can't. And Saturday I asked one mother, she can leave now. I said, you can go home now. She wanted to get in our business. Well, this wasn't her space, this was our space. Does that make sense? It's just like your space. You know, and I told her, I said, you can leave now. Come back at 1 o'clock, pick your son up. You know, they want to hang around and be a part of it. No!
Well, just to give you
No, it's a separate situation altogether.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
You know, to give you an idea, 2 weeks after I had that conversation, this one parent that I knew was going to be a pain in the butt, she comes up and she says, why'd you keep that girl? She's the smallest one on the team. And I said, I'm going to tell you why I kept her. She's got a heart this big.
Yeah.
You don't see the potential in the runt, as I call her. But I'm telling you, she's got a heart this big. she listens. And she does her dadgum best for me every minute, and she does exactly what I ask her to do. That's why I kept her. Now, that same girl, and you know, we all have different growth spurts.
Sure.
That same girl grew up, played at Cabarrus County for Mr. Sherrill, best softball coach in the country. Multiple state championships. She was 3-time all-state softball player.
You're not there to win.
All because I took a chance on
Sure.
her, and she developed on her own with a little guidance. You know, that's what I call a success story when it comes to kids.
That's the return on your investment.
And that's what we're going to do with Tools in School.
That's exactly the point. When you can turn a kid's life around, you know, you've done everything. And you can see it happen. You can watch it if you're there playing enough and talking to those kids, interacting, engaging with those children. Lights go off. I mean, you can see the bells ring. And it's no different.
Yeah.
You know, now I've sat here and criticized sports and the emphasis put on it because it's become a problem. You know, however, these kids, sports, the greatness in sports is learning how to work together as a team. And it's not about winning, it's about doing your best, having fun, enjoying what you're doing, not losing your cool, but succeeding at playing a game together with teamwork, just like the military.
The values in sports are there. Whether it's, you know, that's what you're looking at. It's the values.
Exactly.
It's the teamwork.
Exactly.
It's as you said, the ability to lose.
And you know,
Win, lose, all those types of things. Those are the things you're going to learn in life. And the other part, you're not on your phone.
And it's just like business.
Exactly. You're doing something.
And by the way, on the phones. Oh, geez.
We're getting started on another thing here.
Oh, geez.
Total sports phones.
I
you're
got
going to be all over the place. We're going to get the garage door.
Oh,
back
we're going to
here.
get the garage door. But this
I told you it's going to be
Anything
wild.
else you want to complain about, Ray?
What's that?
Is there anything else?
See, here we go. Prime example. I'm complaining. No, I'm dealing with reality.
We know.
You know, it's my job to deal with reality. And some people have a hard time dealing with reality. Am I right or wrong
Absolutely.
here?
And you know,
especially in today's world, I don't care what your problem is with dealing with reality. I'm here to talk about it because I'm confronting it. I work at it. I try to make a difference in these kids' lives. Saturday, come in here. They got phones. All 7 kids, except for one, has phones. And they want to get their phone out, call their mama. No, you're not going to call your mama. But I put your phone back up. And I deal with this every Saturday. Every time I'm around children now, I deal with the phone issues. These are problems, folks. Mom, Dad, you better get with it. These don't belong in a classroom. They don't belong in a learning institution. They don't. But on that note, I'll smile when I talk about my sponsors. You know, I look, real quick. I'm a little high-strung, I'm intense, and I'm passionate as anything. But I love kids. I love people. I love you guys. Man, I love life. God gave us gifts. But we're not teaching our kids that. That's the major point.
Agreed.
Yep.
That's the major point. Now, let me talk about Mr. Rhino Lift Foundation Solution. No, it's not a Mr., but it is Rhino Lift Foundation Solutions. Oh, Alex and Josh got together right out of college and said, we're going to do something. These 2 kids took their education, which is a great education, and made it work for them. Josh had worked around the construction industry through college, helped pay his way through college, and then got out and had his buddy. They've been together since kids. They teamed up together, decided what they're going to do. We got a bean counter on one hand and we got a construction guy on the other, and they said we're going to open a business and we're going to be transparent and we're going to give customers what they pay for, and we're going to be honest, straightforward. And they did just that, got a very successful foundation business, growing very rapidly with great service, great transparency, meaning they come and tell you what's wrong, give you solutions, and you make the decision on what they need to do. If it's crawl-space, foundation issues, concrete that needs to be leveled, whatever the case may be, you got issues, give them a call. Better yet, go online. rhinofoundations.com. Kilo Exterminating. Been in Charlotte talking about crawl spaces. Now, I've said for many years, you should have your crawl space inspected at least once every year, 2 years max. Wood-destroying insects, termites, there are other wood-destroying insects that you need to be aware of, like carpenter ants. You know how you can tell a carpenter ant? He got a little tiny tool belt, a little humor in it. Not really, like carpenter bees, you know. But at any rate, Kilo's been called for carpenter bees. What do you do about them? Well, we'll talk about that later. But Kilo Exterminating, seriously, 3 generations. 1939 is when that family began in the Charlotte metro area, and look what's happened. Still in business, Independence Boulevard. You can't help but notice the signs as you go down there at Eastway. Kilo Exterminating, 3 generations of professional service in entomology, bug exterminating, pest control. Kilo.biz, check them out. And let's don't forget ABS Insulating. ABS Insulating started as a company, family-owned business, has evolved into what it is today. A great company, great service, and a great company that will help you solve comfort issues in your home. Give them a call. Better yet, go online, absinsulating.com. Great staff, and we can't forget about their gutter specialties. When I say gutter specialties, they've got a whole gutter division that will take care of any gutter issues you may have. We talk about water invasive. We just talked about Kilo. Water. ABS Insulating, gutter division. Give them a call. Go online, absinsulating.com. In the house today, we got Garage Door Doctor, 2nd generation Garage Door Doctor. I'm going to call it that because Garage Door Doctor's been in Charlotte. Do you know when it came to Charlotte? Give me some history.
Sure. Yeah, the company was founded in 2005. An independent garage door company, not affiliated with a chain or anything like that. We're just independent here in Charlotte. Grew to Raleigh at one point, kind of retreated back before I took over to Charlotte.
When did you come to Charlotte?
I came down in 2019.
Gotcha.
Yep.
And, okay, you're back. I'm going to go back to his background. We're going to talk a little history from a Connecticut guy. So you were born and raised in Connecticut.
Correct.
And the first time you came south is college?
I've been coming south probably since I was 6 months old. Visit my grandmother.
Where'd she live?
She lives in Maydan, a real small town outside outside Rockingham County, outside Greensboro.
I know where Maiden's at.
Yep.
Sure.
Still have family up there. She's 98. Saw her over the weekend.
98?
98.
Really?
Bless her soul. She lives on her own, and
how's she doing?
she's doing great. She's doing great. Lives on her own.
Still in Maiden?
Still in her same house that she's been in since the 60s, and just incredible.
Is that your mom's mom? Or?
That's my mom's mom. Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
How many brothers, sisters you have?
I have one brother.
Older or younger?
Younger.
Where's he at now?
He's up in New York.
New York.
So.
Got you. How about your parents? Still with us?
Still with us. Yes, plus to have both my parents with us, and they're mostly in Connecticut. They go out to California a little bit in the winter. My dad was in the service, and thank you for his service. And he volunteers on an aircraft carrier out there. He's a docent, and just loves that. So,
awesome. That's good stuff. Okay, so you was raised in Connecticut, went to high school there, raised, then got out of high school, and then what?
Came down to visit my grandmother, actually, and we were trying to get out of the house for a day and went over to Chapel Hill. It's a pretty place.
Got hooked,
and threw in an application and said, "We'll see what happens." And lo and behold, I got in.
And went into what?
I went into Chapel Hill. I graduated with a major in economics and public policy. So
I didn't know that. Economics and public policy.
Yes.
So you got
here I am running garages, but yes.
Well, no, but you had another crossover there. Weren't you an attorney?
I am. Yep. So I graduated.
Oh, he is. Did you hear that? He is an attorney.
Yeah, I made my mom proud. I'm a doctor and a lawyer.
Wow. So I learned something right there.
Did you get a doctorate?
No, just in garage doors.
You're just kidding.
Just in garage doors, yes.
Okay. But no, you went into, when did you go into law?
So I graduated, went back up north against a lot of people's suggestions. Went back up north.
Hold on. So you graduated from college. Got a degree in what?
Economics and public policy.
Okay. And then you went back up to Hartford.
I went back up to Hartford. Worked for a developer who developed senior housing communities. Did that for about 4 or 5 years. Was trying to figure out what I wanted to do next, and started law school at night.
Hold on a second.
Yes, sir.
You know me in careers. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
folks, but you got out of college, got a degree, went back to Hartford, and what business did you get into?
So real estate development.
Okay.
Yep.
And that degree didn't play into that very much, although it did and it didn't.
It did and it didn't. When you're working through land use, you're working through
Sure.
different aspects of development. It came into play. All of it, no. My stat class, no. But parts of that degree certainly.
So
did.
when did you decide to change courses?
I thought about either going to business school, law school.
Are you married yet? Met a girl yet?
I'm not married yet. Not met my wife. I met my wife at a vegan barbecue. And this is funny because neither one of us are remotely vegan, but we were both starting law school at the same time, and we ended up commiserating, what are we doing at a vegan barbecue, and went out for drinks afterwards, and kind of the rest is history.
I've never heard of a vegan barbecue.
Nor had I. And honestly, Bullet, I haven't heard about
You'll
one
have to
since.
explain that.
I was going to say, probably hadn't heard one since.
Yeah, no,
either.
I haven't, and I haven't been to one, but
Welcome to the South.
welcome to the South.
California, there might be some.
Yeah,
There might be a
well,
lot of those.
That's what happens when you're Connecticut, But yeah, went to UConn Law. Started at night.
So you went to college back at there and went to UConn.
I did. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And so did that, and just working at night. I was actually flying. I was working on a project in Raleigh, so I'd be flying down to Raleigh during the day, going back, getting in class at night. Did that for a year. And it was pretty crazy. Wow. Ended up just going full next 2 years, just finish up law school and full time.
So you got another degree.
Got another degree, and graduated from law school in I think it's 2009, and everybody knows what the economy was in 2009.
Oh yeah, rough.
It was rough. And they were not looking for attorneys. They were not looking for the company I'd worked for.
What kind of attorneying did you do? Lawyer?
Mostly contract type
I
law.
got you.
And I originally envisioned going back to the firm I'd worked with. When you're working with development, you're looking at contracts this thick.
Right.
And so I see, and a lot of guys I knew in that area were lawyers. Kind of thought like a lawyer, working through deals like a lawyer, and so I was like, all right, this makes sense. Well, I graduated. That firm was no longer in business. They weren't hiring lawyers at that point either, and so I had to look at a couple different routes. Ended up working for a family office that ran type B, C strip malls, and kind of worked through that portfolio. Did a short stint with the city of Hartford in economic development. Interesting. I loved Hartford at the time. Still wish it well, but did spend a little time in government with them trying to get some economic development projects going. And then went into banking, and that's where did I apply my degree. I ended up restructuring about $1 billion worth of debt from senior living communities that had gone broke.
Right.
And so did that. Ended up doing that for a few years. Went to a design build firm. It was the largest design builder. It's called the Dennis Group. It was the largest design build firm of food and beverage plants in the country.
Okay.
A lot of fun. They were growing like crazy. We ended up opening offices in Canada and in Brazil. So just kind of great exposure. Got down to Rio, Sao Paulo.
So you got to go out of the country.
I did. It was a lot of fun. And so did that for a while. My wife, meanwhile, she's having a great career. She's a lawyer.
What kind of law?
She does international trade law.
Okay.
Originally, she was doing a lot of things of keeping things that shouldn't go to countries like Iran, going to Iran. She was in aerospace, and so kind of making sure that dual-use technology wasn't going to places where it shouldn't go.
Right.
She got transferred to Charlotte. Collins Aerospace has an office out by the airport, and they moved us down here. We thought we'd be here for a couple of years. Got down here. My kids were young at the time, and found Charlotte to be a great place to raise the kids. And I was doing the remote thing before the remote thing was a thing, and said, you know what, you're in a good spot. Why don't I try to go out and see if I can make some money myself, build my own business. I've helped a lot of other businesses grow. It's time to kind of do my own thing. And so that's how I ended up starting to search for a business that I could build from.
So you moved to Charlotte doing remote work, and so then you got another crazy notion you wanted to
go out on my own and try to be an entrepreneur and do my own business.
Well, it didn't seem like you tried. You did it.
I did it.
So what made you go into garage? I mean, tell me that story.
Sure. I was actually kind of working with a friend. We were both looking at different businesses to buy, and there's this philosophy of, do you start a business or do you kind of take an established business and grow it? And so I was looking for a business, and I kind of built this checklist of different items that a business would have, and I found this garage door company. Came to me and through a broker, and I started looking at them like, yeah, there's a lot of checklists. It's a business, a lot of repeat business, a lot of service business. Where the economy goes sideways, you still got to fix that broken spring, get that opener installed. And so it checked a lot of boxes for me. It was a business I felt I could get my arms around, had an established name in Charlotte. And so I ended up purchasing it. It wasn't necessarily a smooth transition to getting it purchased, but got it across the line, and here we are today.
Well, I commend you, and I'm just going to shoot straight with you folks. Garage Door Doctor did not have a good reputation from previous owner. I met the guy and several other people because I'm in the industry. We got the feedback, and I'm tickled to death that Bullet went to work for you and that you came across in conversation one day. And I said, wow.
Yeah.
So the old guy's gone, meaning you bought the other company out and you've turned it around, made it, not that it was a terrible company.
No.
It wasn't a terrible company, but they weren't the greatest either.
Yeah, there were some reputational challenges. If you look at some of the older reviews, you'll see that. But really, and I was talking to my wife about this about 6 months ago, you start seeing the reviews come in, and they really reflect the values that I push through in this company.
Well, we have a 4.9 Google rating.
Oh,
right
I
now.
noticed that.
And
that's what I'm not going to be, I won't leave here without people knowing that the Google reviews of today are totally different than they were prior to 2019.
And we don't bat 1,000%, but my job, I look at this, Ray, I look at this as kind of from a perspective of a former business, someone ran a business.
Sure.
And as a homeowner. And so I don't come into this as a garage door guy. I come into this as the consumer. What would I want? It's quick turnaround, it's fair pricing, it's a good value, and you're going to get a good service. My guys, we interview a number of guys. I don't hire most of the people I interview. I hire people that I wouldn't mind in my house. I wouldn't mind my wife talking to.
Yeah.
I mean, that's they got to be a great tech, but they've got to be a good person. And so that's the business that I've put together, the values that I've put together in this business.
How's your help finding labor been? In this
It's a challenge. It's a challenge.
Definitely a challenge, isn't it?
It's a challenge. And one thing, the first thing I did when we bought the business, I almost didn't buy it because when I was looking at the business, the labor force is turning over so often.
Had a big turnover.
But
that was more of a management problem, administrative problem than it was a people problem.
Yeah, and we had great people come through the door. And frankly, most of the guys that are with us now have been with us 2-3 years. So I mean, it's or longer. I mean, I've stabilized that workforce. Part of that was necessary. As I learned, I need to figure out, I need these guys, but part of my philosophy is, look, I didn't grow up in this world. A lot of these guys did. I'm going to listen to you. You know what's going on. You tell me what the customer needs. We'll adapt to that. But my guys run in very independently, and I just let them kind of do their thing, and it works.
How many crews you got now?
We've got 7 crews right now.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
How's business?
It's good.
How's business, Bullet, from your
It is
perspective?
Absolutely great.
He says it's good. Now he says great.
Well, wow. He's going to be challenged with bringing on additional personnel as we continue to grow. I've been doing this for 46 years, and I know what's out there. I know the potential on the commercial side. I know the potential on the builder side. Right now we're structured to growth. Our growth is going to be massive. We are very selective in the verticals that we're going to reach out to. We're going to make it work for us. We're going to grow this in a methodical way, like you walk up steps. You can't jump from 110 right off the bat. You got to go up like this. We're going to do this in a very structured manner so that we can maintain our quality of service. Now, one thing I really like about what Jared's put together is that we have these trucks that go out on the road are fully stocked.
Yeah.
These guys we don't have a revolving door. One of my biggest complaints about the verticals that I was in previously was the revolving door. I didn't know if I was going to be dealing with Joe or John or
the turnover problem.
The turnover problem was, and a lot of it was just because of the philosophy of within the house.
Exactly.
The company itself.
Sure.
Here, everything that Jared and I share as far as customer service, I built a reputation of customer service over 46 years. People can call me anywhere from 4 in the morning till midnight. They know that. And if I'm not on the phone, they'll get a call. And they give you a
You were
funny,
out fishing last night, right?
well, a funny story. I'm sitting there last night, and I'm on a farm pond, been there since 5:30, and I get a call from a guy at 6:30. Well, I didn't see he call because I had the phone on silent, so I called him back. And as soon as I picked up the phone, I got bit. And I said,
You got a bite.
I got a bite. So I said, hold on a minute, Alex. I've been rudely interrupted. And the fish jumped up to like a 4-pounder. I said, a 4-pounder just hit my lure, and I'm trying to get him in. I'll be with you in just a sec. He's laughing on the phone.
I'm sure he is, yeah.
He said, you're really fishing right now, and you got a fish on while you're talking to me? I said, yeah, I do. Next thing I know, the fish jumps, the lure goes over my head. The guy in front of the boat starts laughing. He's my neighbor. He starts laughing his head off, and he said, the guy on the phone, Alex, he says, I guess you lost that fish because your buddy up front's laughing at you. I said, yeah, I lost him. I said, now, I'll have your quote to you first thing in the morning. He said, I'm sending you over my email just to make sure it gets to the correct email. I said, did you check your spam yet to make sure? He said, I'll check my spam, give you a call in the morning. So, that was the end of that. We had a big laugh. I mean, it was.
Oh, yeah, that is
This is
funny.
the
And even this morning, he called me this morning. I said to Maria's eating. He said, that was hilarious last night, Bullet. He said, I've never had anybody a phone call like that in my life. I said, well, that's about the third one I've had. I said, my boss at Piedmont called me one day, and I set the hook on a fish and dropped the phone in the bottom of the boat. He wanted to know where I went.
I hear you. All right, let me take a little break here and go talk about floor coverings. Every house has floors. I don't care what you go in, there's a floor under that house, in that house somewhere somehow. And it's got carpet, LVP, or some ceramic tile, or some sort of floor covering. Well, if you're looking for new floor coverings and you want a great company, they bring the showroom to you. That's Floor Coverings International, Southeast Charlotte, yourflooringteam.com. Check them out. Like I said, they'll bring the showroom to you. You don't have to do any traveling. Go online, set you an appointment up. They show up just like these garage door doctor folks do to give you service, great service, and everything that you expect in a company. Do you not know what you want on your floors? You may not. You may think you know. Well, they'll bring everything and all the information you need to make the best selection on the floor covering you may want, be it LVP or LVT, carpet, hardwood floor, be it engineered or stained, sanded and stained, new stair treads, whatever the case may be, and you need floor covering, Floor Coverings International, Southeast Charlotte. Look them up, yourflooringteam.com. And let's don't forget about Above the Floors, Queen City Home Store, your go-to store for any home furnishings you may need. Greatly expanded, great people, great service, great pricing. They've got you covered, be it appliances, home entertainment, furnishings such as bedding, furniture, lamps, you name it. Queen City Home Store. 1952 is when it came to town, and grown ever since. The Player family, a great family business, great service guaranteed. That's Queen City Home Store. QueenCityOnline.com or at corporate number 704-391-6000. That's Queen City Home Store. In today's show, we got the Garage Door Doctor. I love that name, the Garage Door Doctor. Yep, talking garage doors. If you've got one, it needs service. And on that note, and I'm going to just ask kind of a generic question, sure. Is there one common theme that gives more problems with garage doors than any other?
Eventually, every garage door spring is going to break. So that's the common. I mean, at some point, that garage doors, we look at springs up, down the cycle.
And you don't replace them till they break?
We typically don't.
Because it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right.
So,
now, I'll caveat on that by saying, if you have two springs on your door and one is broken, we like to say this in our business, it's kind of like tires on the, treads on the tire.
Change them both.
You change them both at the same time. It's much more efficient to do it that way. The other one's right behind it.
I will say one thing. He's talking about broken springs, and I've had 4 sets in my house in 20 years because my garage door gets worked out every day. What I have seen in the last 2 months is multiple garage door damage because of vehicles running into them. either from the inside or
Backing
on the
into it?
outside. Oh my gosh,
Driving through
it's
it,
incredible.
it's incredible.
I mean, I had a guy the other day drove back to F-250 into his garage, put a scratch on his bumper on his F-250, and trashed his wife's Audi inside the garage. I'm like,
Trashed it.
yeah, I mean, he knocked it so far back it hit her Audi. And I'm
To anybody that's hit a garage door, I want to say it happens. I did not realize this until I took over this business. I had a friend growing up. His mom used to hit the garage door all the time. We always kind of made fun of them. But, the reality is when I took over this business, it happens. We'll get 3 or 4 calls a week of someone running into a garage door.
and
I got to confess, happened to me before, right here. I said bump, and I said, oh no, I thought I got a little too close there.
well, I walked up to one the other day, and she ran into it with it closed. And I was kind of laughing. I said, ma'am, you're an amateur. She said, what do you mean I'm an amateur? I said, I did $3,000 damage to my neighbor's garage door and $4,000 to my car because of a new pair of sunglasses that were prescription. And I should have known I was in trouble when I stepped out of the eye doctor, and the little 6-inch curb you had to step over, I stepped about 1.5 feet over it. And even driving down the road, I said, this is not good. So yeah, I've done it. And when I go into these houses that have garage doors that have been hit,
Right.
my first words out of my mouth, oh, you're just an amateur.
Yeah.
I said, I can show you some pictures of really what good damage is done, because I've done it.
So anybody listening to this show, 2/3 of the people at this table, and I'll probably just jinx myself, have hit a garage door, so don't feel too bad if you do it.
Oh, yeah.
Can you repair a garage door? Or do you have to replace the whole thing?
It really depends on how hard they hit it.
Yeah, what I would say is, so the wood doors at this point, if you hit a wood door, it's going to be cheaper to replace it.
Yeah.
Metal doors, if it's 2 panels, you can generally replace the panels. If they're white, you start getting the colors, it gets a little tough to match.
Right.
But you start getting beyond 2 panels, your price of replacing is about the same as panels.
And you have to explain the color differential on that, because, if that garage door is 5 years or older, you're going to have 2 white panels on the bottom, and you're going to have faded white because of the sun and whatever it's been exposed to. So you have to be very
But you can also
thorough
hire a
and-
painter to paint your dang new garage
Absolutely.
door.
you can.
Yep.
But you know what happens when you start painting like that.
No, tell me.
Well, something that opens and closes
Right.
that much and takes that much abuse from an outside or inside, you're going to start chipping that paint. I mean, it's just inevitable. You're going to put a rake across it. You're going to, garage doors take a lot of abuse, not just from cars, but as individuals. And that's the reason when somebody wants a steel on the inside, I look at them and I like, dude, time you pull that rake or hoe out of the handle that you have it in, you're going to dent it.
Right.
It's inevitable. If you got vinyl, it doesn't dent like.
What's the
steel
most
does.
popular door out there as far as, and when I say affordability, you can spend a lot of money on garage doors.
Absolutely.
Because there's some garage doors that are just phenomenal looking
Absolutely.
with a great design. But then again, you don't have to buy that door. You can. What's the most popular door out there in today's world?
I would say it's your standard raised panel. White raised panel
Embossed,
door. Embossed, exactly. Stamped.
Metal door.
It's gonna be a stamped metal door. And you can get those, whether it's a carriage style, which the little slats on it, right, or just kind of that raised panel embossed
Are
door.
people buying insulated doors much?
I would say most homeowners are, whether it's the vinyl back that Bullet was talking about, or the steel back. If you've got space above your garage, get the metal. Get a decently insulated door. If you have a detached garage, it's up to you. There's really no necessary. I mean, it's a stronger door. We've got some cool videos we took a couple years ago of dropping a weight from a lift in our back of our shop, kind of showing the strength of a door, with different insulation levels. But it's really up to you.
I think an individual, when you go in, that's one of the questions you ask once you kind of get into the basics of what they're looking for. And I always ask the question, what do you do in your garage? How much time do you spend in there? Because I spend 80% of the time I'm home in my garage. because of my
Man cave.
fishing and stuff like that.
Is that your man cave?
It's my world.
I would call it your man cave.
I'm prepping for a fishing tournament right now on Lake Hartwell now, and that's where I spend my time. But I ask them, how much time do you spend in there? Do you want a standard insulated? Do you need a medium? The medium is kind of what we use in this particular area.
Right.
And we've even upgraded some over 19 because we had one guy that son played the drums, and the gentleman called back and he said, I'm really trying to protect the neighborhood. We kind of get used to it, but
Sound.
Yeah, sound barrier.
That's what I was going to bring up. Is insulated doors really play well on the sound abatement issue.
Yeah.
And the other thing I would add is that, the heavier the door, the quieter it's going to be. When you think about a door going up, when it's just a pan door, no insulation, it's light.
Oh,
and
it is
it
light.
goes up
And
there
it
and it rattles all the way up. You get those more solid doors, you put the nylon rollers on there, that door's quiet when it's heavy. People don't, it's kind of almost counterintuitive, but the heavier the door, the more quiet it's going to roll across those
No,
tracks.
I can understand that. That makes a lot of sense. And I've played with a lot of overhead doors in my life, and the flimsy ones, I call them flimsy. They're just sheet of.
It's a barrier.
Builder grade door.
What's that?
Builder grade door is what I usually call that because it's.
They're
cheap
light.
and
They're
inexpensive.
easy to lift up, but they play a lot less havoc on your operators because it's so light.
They do.
But they do make a lot more noise because it's all metal.
And it really depends on what you want, right? I mean, if you just want to, something to close off and keep a little privacy, a little security, that's all you need.
Right.
But if you're looking for insulation, looking for those other levels, then add that insulation level.
Got it. All right. The bottom seal, the rubber
Yes.
gasket, do you get any calls on that?
We do.
Because I know I've had to replace many of those in my life.
Those, I mean, it's you get those. You want that tight. We've had people, particularly this time of year, you start getting critters going in.
That's why I brought it up.
Yeah, you really want that.
And it also affects the eyes.
Yep.
Does it not?
The photo eyes.
Yeah, the photo
Yeah, it
eye.
can. If it gets out of whack, it starts pulling apart. If it hits that gets in the middle of that beam, yes, it can knock your,
Out of alignment.
Out of alignment.
It's funny you mentioned the strip on the bottom because about 2.5 weeks ago, my wife looked at me and she says, why do I see light coming in down here? And I looked, and there was a strip about 14, 16 inches on the right-hand side of my door. So I go in the next morning, I say, hey, Mike, Jeff, can y'all do me a favor? What do you need, Bullet? And I said, I need a new strip on the bottom of my door. And they said, oh, you're just doing all kinds of things to your door. I said, yeah, I'm learning about what is necessary for a proper installation.
And it keeps the water. I mean, obviously, you're talking about water earlier.
Right.
It's a big part. One thing that I will say, Ray, we do get, sometimes we'll get a complaint. Say, hey, look, you guys put this new seal or new door in, particularly the metal doors where they're absolutely flush. Well, these houses, we're talking about Range Reed earlier, they built 40 some odd years ago. That slab starts cracking. You start getting some hump on there, and we will get complaints on occasion. Hold on, I can see light, and so we've gotten some thicker seals to try to seal that. But that is one thing that people will come when they switch, particularly from a wooden door over to a metal door. Hold on. My wooden door, it came down for so many years. It developed a curve to that ground.
In some cases, they put an extension on the bottom of the door to contour.
Absolutely.
With the concrete.
I will have to do that in my house. I've got an old wooden door in my house, and we are probably sitting 4 inches higher on one side than the other.
Right.
Yep, and I'll have to do that adjustment.
I know that I built a garage way back out in Waxhaw, and the slab, there was no way I could get it
to swale
perfectly level across one of them because of the land itself. But anyway, I had to go in there and make some additions, make it work. And I knew that was going to happen.
Yep.
Because we had two of them, and the one on the left had some issues. But it turned out good. So, all right, we're about to tie up hour number one about your house. We got Garage Door Doctor in the house. We're going to wrap it up. Come back next hour with more garage door talk. Yep, garage doors. They're very popular these days. So tune in, turn on, and learn. Next hour about your house coming up. Tune in. We'll see you in a minute.